All right, thank you. All right, let me share my screen here. You all have to bear with me. I've been having troubles with my computer for quite a while now, so it may be slow, it may glitch, it may freeze up, but that's technology, right? All right. As much as we can prepare, there's sometimes we just can't do anything. So I'm waiting for my screen to come up. There we go. All right. All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes, thumbs up. All right. So anyway, I'm glad you took your time today to meet with us and want to share these coaching questions that I use as a guide with my clients through their sessions and to make it more meaningful and impactful. These are questions that I usually will have available as as a bullet point for every session that I start. I may or may not use every question, but they are at least the guiding factor in my sessions. It helps me to ask those questions that I need to ask. Let me tell you a little bit about Powerhouse Coaches. So Powerhouse Coaches was birthed at the last enrichment event. We were sad that there wasn't going to be a 2022 event, so we decided to host our very own virtual event that anyone could attend. Our group was created to help coaches like you scale your business, grow your profit, and master the mindset around providing real solutions for real coaches so that you can create the most successful practice that you want to have that serves you. All right, let's get into the 8 questions. All right, drum roll, question number 1. Wait a minute, I want to introduce myself. I've been a financial coach for 4.5 years. I have a passion for sharing my coaching skills with other coaches who want to succeed. And when I'm not coaching, you'll most likely find me in the gym working out. We have a home gym, so I just walk downstairs and get in there and work out. So, all right. First question, when you meet with a client, what are we celebrating this week? You always want to start out on a high note. There's always something to celebrate with your clients, even if you have to dive outside of finances. I had a client last week that was so excited to tell me that her daughter lost her first tooth at school, and everybody was jealous, and all the kids were like, I want to lose my first tooth. So we have to dig a little deeper to find those wins with our clients, because maybe they had a rotten week. Maybe it was stressful. Maybe they had to work a lot. Whatever it is, we want to make sure that we find something that they can be proud of for that week. It could be something so small, but it brings lightness to the mood, and it makes the client feel like there's something positive, always positive to celebrate. So that's the first question I ask, is get them excited about the small wins. It could be financial. Hopefully it is. But if it's not, don't worry about it. We just need to celebrate with them where they're at. What this does is bring connection with them. It brings genuinity for them to know that we really care about what's going on with their family. And it creates that relationship that we're trying to establish over and over and over as we meet with our clients. So that's the first thing, is celebrating something positive, something fun. Get the meeting started out in a light mood and really set the tone of how you want your session to go. All right. What got in the way? So obviously you wouldn't ask this if they, completed all of, hold on, I went ahead of myself. What didn't get done this week? So we're often celebrating what we got done, and we usually set some sort of accountability, maybe some homework that you wanted them to accomplish and be done. And so this is our chance to see if there are any tasks that didn't get checked off. So we want to make sure they're still moving in the right direction. It also helps us to see what clients are experiencing in real life. So maybe they had kid problems that week. Maybe they had to work overtime. I had a client lose their nanny one week, and it completely derailed everything, their budget, just being on track. I had another client that had a flood in their kitchens. So just knowing where they are can bring some empathy and compassion to their journey with you. Even things happen in our own lives, and sometimes I'll share those things just to let them know I'm just as human as you are. And even though we're on this financial journey, we still are going to have some things that are going to come up that are going to keep us from getting to our goal or whatever it is we're trying to accomplish that week. So we want to just kind of take their temperature, see where they're at, what didn't get done this week. We don't want any shaming. We basically want to just come alongside them and see where they're at and where we can move forward from there. Then we get to what got in the way. So you wouldn't ask this, obviously, if they actually completed all of the tasks that they were trying to get done. But if there was something, this is a great question to ask instead of, what didn't you do, right? You don't want to say that because it kind of sounds very negative. And we don't want to open the door of complete storytelling and reasoning. And we just really want to ask them, what was that one or two things that got in the way from us accomplishing X, Y, or Z? And we want to try to work with them to find out actually what stood in the way of completing that task. This is very important because this could tell you as a coach what it is that, and if this is a pattern or a behavior that keeps them from moving forward in the session or in the homework task that you have them complete. Okay, next question. Question number 5. Or we're on number 4, sorry. What do you not want me to ask you? So this is one of the most powerful questions I think that you can ask somebody. The point of this is because we want to find out what they're avoiding. So we want to bring anything into light and tackle it. And usually when we do this, this is one of the most powerful questions you can ask them. I mean, we already have the facts. We know what got in the way. So now we need to tap into their feelings and asking them, what do you not want me to ask you? Maybe there's some underlying issue that they're not telling you. And so asking this question can really open the lines of communication with them that can help them, open those questions of, what else? What else is bothering you? Tell me more about that. Is there something more to that? When you do this, it lets your client expand into deeper problems instead of just one word answers or surface level answers or reasons of what they're going through. So we want to make sure that we're asking them, what do you not want me to ask you today? It could be something as simple as, don't ask me if I, reconciled my budget, that kind of thing. Really tell me a little bit about that. What is keeping you from doing that? Do you feel like you're not competent? Do you feel like you need some guidance? So this really gives us a way in to be able to find out where our clients are missing the link to keeping up with what they need to do, or even just knowing what's going on in their real life. All right, question number 5. How are you feeling about this? So this is that last question was a segue into this one. We want to make sure that we are taking their temperature to see exactly how they're feeling about the process. We never know unless we ask. And I feel like this is one of the most important questions to ask during sessions. And I ask this at every session because they're going to feel different ways at different times. And if I can tap into that, then I can make sure that I, as the coach, am serving them the best possible way that I can. So that is making sure you take their temperature. Maybe they're just feeling totally defeated. So as a coach, wouldn't we respond differently if they were absolutely feeling defeated? Or maybe they're feeling encouraged, then we would definitely want to build on that and we respond in a different way for that. So always good to take their temperature, see where they're at, see how they're feeling. And you can ask this about different aspects of the session. There could be, the budgeting part. How are you feeling about this budget today? How are you feeling about the goal that you set? Do you feel like it's achievable? Like, these are all the points you're going to ask your clients so that you know exactly where they're at during every single session. You don't want to leave the session questioning whether you provided the value, you provided the guidance, but by asking them how they're feeling, you can totally do that every single session. And it's been a game changer for me. All right, question number 6. How would you like blank to look like? This question can be for any type of coach. It doesn't have to be a financial coach. So this is where we would have them try to help explain how they would come up with a solution to a problem. So what would it look like for them? And so the blank could be, how would you like your money management to look like? I'm just filling in the blank. It could be anything. And you can definitely exchange that for something else. But we want to help create an environment to help them co-create a solution with them. So my idea of what money management looks like could be completely different than what their idea of money management looks like. So we want to make sure that we are understanding what they think money management should look like for them. I mean, I can all day say, oh, you need to do it my way, right? Like, my way's the good way. I know it works. But that isn't always the solution for them. And we want our clients to get to a place where they can start their decision-making process on their own and also learning how to create solutions for themselves. Because once they're done working with us, that's really what we want to do, is give them the tools that they need to be able to do these things on their own. We don't want to be their crutch. We don't want to be somebody they're always going to have to lean into. We want to equip them so that they can be on their own and making good financial decisions. So I would take this question, honestly, and I would take it, write it down, and insert a bunch of different things. So that way you have a bunch of different questions that you could ask related to money or finances or whatever your kind of coach you are. And that way you can have some guidance on like leading them to the answer and to the solution. All right, number 7, what is the first step or the easiest step we could take? Like, this is usually very, very simple. And I say these are powerful because even the simplest of questions can be very powerful. I use this when dealing with big goals. When a client feels overwhelmed or they're getting drowned in the details, or they're worrying about the amount of work that goal entails, I usually say something like, within the next week or month or tomorrow, what step could we take? So it's really nailing down that actionable, tangible step that they can take that will help them feel good. Because when they start taking small steps, they start to feel like they're actually getting traction. Or sometimes I'll just say, what small step or even 1% change? If you've read Atomic Habits, you know that 1% change can make a difference over time. But I always say, what can we do? What's one thing we could do to implement today to make progress towards that? This is where you're asking them what is something small they can do that will get them closer to that feeling that they want to have. And also, it's an opportunity for you to ask, how can we avoid any obstacles? So anytime we have a goal in mind, we obviously have our actionable steps to get to that goal. We have our why. Why are we trying to get to this goal? But then we have to say, well, what if we run into obstacles? So this is where you help them find the areas of the steps they can take, but how they can manage the obstacles that are going to come in front of them during that time, because obstacles will come. So we need to know what's step 1, what's step 2, and how can we manage these obstacles should they arise. All right, question number 8. If you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? So this is where we get into good decision making, because anytime you say, obviously we know if you say yes to something, something else has to be a no. So what are we going to say no to? That's getting them to actually write down what are some things I'm going to say no to this week so that I say yes to this goal or yes to saving this amount of money. Whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. I don't want them to think that they have to be able to do all the things. So I want them to understand that if we're going to say yes to this, what is something else you're going to sacrifice, you're going to do without, or you're going to say no to? So I think that's really important because I think clients can tend to get overwhelmed, and we don't want them to get overwhelmed with the process. So just giving them permission to say no. And I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do with your clients. Back in the day, I used to be a people pleaser and I would say yes to everything and then regret it later. So this is where we're building that muscle for your clients to absolutely say no. Maybe they're going to say, no, we're not going out to dinner with our friends again this Friday night. We're going to save that $100. So it's just the little small things like that that can get them in a position financially where they want to be towards their goal. Okay? All right, number 9. How can I best hold you accountable? So most always at the end of every session I teach or I meet with clients, I ask them, how can I hold you accountable? Everyone is different that you work with. Not everyone is going to want you to touch base with them every day. I have some clients they absolutely love my check-in Fridays. Every Friday I check in with them and how their budget's going. Are they caught up? Are they behind? And they actually text me back with a color heart. So each color heart means something different. Like red means I'm all caught up. Yellow might mean I'm 1 to 2 days behind. And so they absolutely love that I'm keeping in check with them so to make sure that they're working the budget. So however you want to touch base with your clients, make sure that you do it on a regular basis and you do it with consistency. That's the key. Now, some of my clients are like, no, I'm good. Just check with me once, every other week or right before we meet, just to make sure that I'm on top of things. Other clients, they literally will message me every day. And I am not opposed to that. It takes just a few seconds for me to respond back, but it gives them the feeling that I care. I'm walking alongside of them. I'm not leaving them. I'm helping them through that time. So whatever you're comfortable with and what your client is comfortable with, this is where we need to give them the most support. And I feel like you always need to be able to under promise and over deliver, because this is where we show our value and where we show us as coaches that we have the knowledge and expertise to guide them. So again, under promise and over deliver. Always giving above and beyond what you tell them you're going to give them. All right, so I gave you a bonus question for the day. Like I said, sometimes it's just a given that we want to hold our clients accountable, but I think it's another thing when we show them the accountability in actually happening and able to get that for them and show them the love that we give them and the encouragement and the guidance and support that we hold for them. Okay, let's get into some questions. So takeaways, keep your questions simple, show your engagement with your client, hold accountability space for change, and be okay if the session doesn't go as planned. We do these 9 questions don't have to be set in stone, but they can be utilized in your session in different times. I mean, you can switch them around, but they really are questions that can open up deeper conversations and more vulnerability and all of the things that you want your clients to be able to share with you. All right, any questions? We have questions in the chat. Open your mics if you have any questions. I am not in the chat, so no questions yet. Why do I ask number 4 question every time? All right, let's go back to that. All right. Let's see, that's 3, 4. What do you not want me to ask you? The reason that I ask this question is because I always feel like there are clients that are holding something back that they're afraid to tell me. I'll give you an example, and this was absolutely the reason I asked this question. I had a client tell me that, and they were not going to tell me, but they went out and bought a brand new Mustang without running it by me, without consulting me. Literally went out and just purchased it. And it was such a surprise to me. But if I had not asked that question, they said they would not have even told me. That they were so ashamed of the purchase that they didn't want to come clean with me about it. Because we had been making such progress. And this question, this is where the avoidance comes in. Our clients will come to the session sometimes feeling very guilty about something that they did that they probably know would not align with what you're telling them to do. And so it's okay to give them space to let them know that it's okay. You know, you made the decision. It's okay. Where can we go from here? Just an update, the client did end up getting in a car accident and totaling the said Mustang. And because of that was a huge wake-up call for them on just how bad of a financial decision that was for them. But it wasn't for me to tell them that. They already knew that. But I had to ask the question, what do you not want me to ask you today? And that just opens up that vulnerability that they need, that safe space to be able to tell you anything that they messed up on, what they shouldn't have done, maybe that they're thinking about doing, but it really creates and holds that space for that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? Just so you know, there will be a recording of this. So if you did not catch them all, we will have the recording for you so that you can go back and watch it. We like to keep these simple and quick because we know your time is precious and we don't want to take a lot of it, but we want to be able to give you powerful, impactful information as a coach that you can take with you today and actually use. So, all right, if there's no more questions, I want to move on a little bit. And I want to share with you about our upcoming event. We would love for you if you joined us. These are some of the topics we'll be talking about. And you can go to becomingapowerhousecoach.com for more information to help you. And let me go here. Here is some of the social media. We're on Facebook page. We have a Facebook group. So we're more than happy to meet you there. We have a place where coaches can go to ask questions for any of us and to get resources and information. So we would love if you joined us for that. And then lastly, join us for next month's. Suzanne will be hosting our next workshop on June 18th. Join her as she shares how to prospect without leads. This will be a very informative workshop, and I think will help you in moving forward with your coaching practice. And lastly, I will leave you with a quote. So the interesting thing about coaching is that you have to trouble the comfortable and comfort the troubled. Isn't that so true? All right. Anybody else? Questions? All right, I really appreciate all of you taking your time today. If there's anything you want to stay in here and discuss and we can talk about, I'd be glad to do that as well. You can get a recording, I believe, if you at least sign up for next month. If you cannot make that, we try to keep them on Saturday mornings because we know a lot of coaches that go to trainings during the weekday or they can't make it. And so we want to try to keep these open for people that at least are available on the weekends. When someone tells you something so wild like the Mustang, how do you respond? Basically, for me, it was like, okay, can you tell me about that? Like, what was it exactly, that led you to that? I want to know the feelings and the thoughts behind that, that led up to the event of them actually purchasing the Mustang. So I'll ask them, tell me a little bit about that day. Tell me about that day when you guys actually made the decision to go to the dealership and buy that car. And it was really important to go through that because I got down to the feelings. Like they really got caught up in the feelings that that buying feeling when you go to a dealership and you've got the car salesman selling you all the bells and the whistles and the advantages of having an electric vehicle. This was an electric Mustang, the brand new one, and so telling them how much money they can save, not really going into what their car payment was going to be. And that's what salesmen do. They play on our emotions at that moment. And that's what happened is they literally just went to go look at them. They had no intention of buying that day, and most people don't. And they expressed that they got caught up in the moment. And they even told me, we thought about calling you. And that's where I want them to learn to exercise that muscle to be able to call me. Like they can run anything by me. There's no shame. There's nothing. Just call me and run it by me. We'll talk through the situation. We'll talk through the points that are leading you in that direction to why you're making that decision. I'm not there to talk them out of it. At the end of the day, my clients can spend their money however they want to. That is not my decision. But if I can talk them through the reasoning behind their decision and help them feel good about their decision, then at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everyone, right? But I want them to see how their decision could affect other things. I'll give you another example. I had another client, and thank goodness they ran it by me first. They have been working so hard for the last year with me that finally, and he just retired as a nurse, and she works part-time with her own business, and they had no money when they first started with me, and they were worried about retirement. They built a nice $80,000 nest egg. They worked so hard building that up. And then all of a sudden their air conditioner broke, right? The air conditioner breaks. It's going to be about 15 grand to fix that. Oh my goodness. What are we going to do? Not only that, but they have 2 units. So they would need to fix both units. Then not only that, they're like, well, we had a leak in the floor. They had the leak last year and they wanted to fix the floor. But they also wanted to redesign their kitchen because now they're going to put the floor in. They didn't want to have to redo the floor. So let's just do a 40 grand kitchen remodel on top of it. So I literally walked through different questions to ask them. And one of the things at the very end, after I said, this is what you would have left. This is after we did all the remodel. Are you comfortable with that? And then I went a little step further and I asked the question, how do you feel about $40,000 being gone from your checking account versus being in your checking account? And that was the light bulb moment for them. Being a almost completely retired couple, they realized that they were getting caught up in their emotions of having a brand new kitchen because she'd wanted one for so long. And I could empathize with her. I was in the same boat. Like, I would love a new kitchen too. So just reframing that question is, how do you feel about it being in your account versus not being in your account anymore? And the feeling was too great of a risk for them that they decided they're only fixing one air conditioner unit and they're waiting on the kitchen remodel. They're going to save some more money. Their goal is in 1 year to save enough, or at least half, to be able to pay for the kitchen remodel. So it's really getting your clients to run things by you first. Always be available for them. I know some people or some coaches have boundaries where they're like, don't bother me between the hours of 5 and 9 at night or whatever it is. But I feel like if I can keep a client from making a wrong financial decision and they can just text me like for 1 minute in the evening, then I'm going to answer them back. Because I want to get them when they're at the highest peak of their emotion. When they're about to pull the plug, they're about to make that purchase. That's where I want to get in, and I want to be that sounding voice, right? So I think that's where we as coaches absolutely show value more than we do in our sessions, is that accountability and running things by me. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything to run something by me. I had a client even just 2 weeks ago text me from Home Depot. They're like, there's a lamp on sale. We really want this lamp for our living room. Can we afford it? Kind of thing. And I was like, let's look. I'll look in your budget. Let's look through it. Let's see, can you afford it? And so I loved walking through that process with them. And maybe it was only an $80 lamp, but they're wanting to make good financial decisions. And because of that, they want to make sure that they understand the questions to ask themselves before they make that purchase. So there again, it's like I said, the accountability I think is so much huger sometimes than just the sessions that we go through with our clients. Any other questions? Thank you. The sunflowers were for my birthday. My husband got them for me the other day. All right. This has been wonderful, you guys. Yes, a sounding board, definitely. I mean, it could be the dumbest question they ask me, but I treat it just like it was any other regular question. It could be do we have enough money to adopt a pet? Like that may seem something so insignificant, but then it's like, well, you have pet food and vet care and vet visits, and you have, shots, and you have upkeep, and you have, maybe you have to get a doggy daycare for going on vacation, like all of these things that they're not thinking about before they adopt a pet. Definitely. All right, guys, I won't keep any longer. We're at the almost 9:40 mark. Love to have you at our next workshop. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.